Spokane has a new budget on the table. The proposed cuts as the mayor works to dig the city out of a multi-million-dollar deficit.
We are tracking all things clouds and patchy fog in the morning with maybe a chance of snow later this week. That is all coming up.
He matches the description of the identification we've been looking for.
A person of interest in custody for the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO. What we know about them tonight. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. We do start with breaking news tonight. For the last several hours, police and deputies have been in a standoff with an assault suspect at a mobile home park in Spokane Valley.
KREM 2's Connor McAvoy is live at the scene tonight with an update he just got from police. Connor?
Well, after hours here in Spokane Valley, we now know that a woman who barricaded herself in a mobile home park here in Spokane Valley, just to my right, has now been arrested and in custody. Now, after speaking with SPD officers, they tell me that this all stems from an assault that broke out at the 2400 block of North Normandy in the city of Spokane. They managed to track two people that they now have arrested, one man and one woman. That man was arrested earlier today, and that woman was tracked down into this mobile home lot here in Spokane Valley. SPD officers have spent the last several hours trying to detain her, and they now currently have her in custody. They've been teaming up with the sheriff's department as well, trying to arrest her, and they now have, in fact, done that. The road on Adams and Longfellow has been closed off for the past couple of hours or so, and they're currently working to open that back up to the public as of right now. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Connor, thank you very much. And our other top story tonight, the weather. We are tracking the potential for some snow this week.
Yeah, KREM 2's Regan Gallo is in for Jeremy tonight. Regan, we have been waiting for snow to arrive for weeks now, and it sounds like we might finally see some, or at least have the chance to see some this week.
Yeah, we have a chance on Thursday, and we'll talk about that all show. So let's take a look at current temperatures all down now, because it is going to be cold, and we're just going to see clouds, cold and clouds. My parents were here this weekend, and they thought they would see some rain, or excuse me, some sunshine on the east side, and I said, nope, we are going to be seeing cloud coverage. So as we get into Tuesday, patchy fog throughout the day and a high of 32. As we get into Wednesday, high of 33. We're really not going to be moving around those mid to low 30s and upper 20s. And then, yes, like we said, PM snow showers are going to be expected, hopefully, on Thursday. So if you were on your evening commute home, if the kiddos are getting off the bus stop, or if you're making dinner and you forgot a grocery item and you got to run back to the store, be prepared, because we are potentially going to be seeing those snow showers. And as of right now, DMA visibility, because it is so cloudy and so foggy, Moses Lake, for example, has no or very little visibility, and Lookout Pass as well. And that has continued to go down since we started our 4 p.m. shows. And as we get into our rain chances, like I said, Thursday, 30%, because we are hopefully going to be seeing that snow coverage, and that is going to lead into Friday and Saturday with a mixed rain snow. So we will see what happens, but that's what I got the update for, and I'm going to toss it back to you guys.
All right, Regan, thank you very much. Tonight, the Spokane City Council is expected to vote on the city's first ever biennium budget, and it comes as Spokane faces a $50 million budget deficit in the general fund.
Chief journalist Amanda Rowley read through the latest version of that proposed budget. She is joining us live in the newsroom tonight with what city leaders are asking for. Amanda?
The city has spent the past year trying to find ways to balance the $50 million deficit that looms over next year's budget. In City Council's version of the budget, we could see minimal layoffs and Spokane Community-Oriented Policing Services, or COPS, sticking around into the new year. Tonight, council members will consider giving COPS what it calls bridge funding, so it can remain open for the first quarter of next year. The current COPS contract expires December 31st. Council President Betsy Wilkerson's proposed amendment asks Mayor Lisa Brown's administration to extend the contract with COPS for 3 months instead of 4, at a cost of $125,000 instead of $200,000. The amendment says if the mayor doesn't sign the extension by tomorrow at 3 p.m., the council president will use her authority to approve the extension. The budget also seeks to fund a volunteer community policing program that will be awarded after a request for proposals is completed. Council is asking the administration to open up this bid process in March, which is something Council President Betsy Wilkerson talked about in a press conference last week.
We all want the same thing. So how do we work on that together, and how do we be the most fiscally responsible to make that happen.
Council's amended budget also appears to include minimal layoffs. There are still some proposed amendments by council members that could change this. But based on the current version, Councilmember Michael Cathcart says only one position is being eliminated, but that city employee is retiring. And he says the full-time employee count would increase by 2. Now, once the budget is voted on and approved by council, it takes effect on January 1st. As a biennium budget, it encompasses the years 2025 and 2026. In the newsroom, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. And new at 5 tonight, a polygamous religious leader who kidnapped and sex trafficked underage girls across state lines, including to Spokane, has now been sentenced to 50 years in prison.
This is a story that we have been covering for years now. 48-year-old Samuel Bateman admitted that he took at least 10 girls as spiritual wives. The youngest was just 9 years old. In 2022, the FBI rescued 8 underage girls from an Airbnb in Spokane. Today, a federal judge told Bateman, quote, "You should not have the opportunity to be free and never have the opportunity to be around young women." She continued, "You took them from their homes, from their families, and made them into sex slaves. You stripped them of their innocence and childhood." Bateman has also been ordered to pay restitution of as much as $1 million per victim.
The Post Falls Library is fully reopened after a pipe burst last January, causing nearly $1 million in damage. Staff have moved all of the library's contents back into the building, and the grand reopening happened today. And since all of the damage happened, the Community Library Network has been navigating insurance claims, disposing of damaged items, and they've managed to replace most of the books. Now they're ready to welcome the public back. Tonight, we are learning more about last month's cyber attack on Washington's court system.
That attack slowed the state's court computer network for weeks. Gun sales were put on hold. The state patrol was not able to conduct the necessary background checks, and it took a little longer for potential foster parents to get approved to house children. But state officials say no personal or confidential data was lost. The cause? Well, the state believes an employee within the state's court system clicked on a pop-up ad on a legitimate private website that had already been compromised.
They had a weakness where they put in a piece of software that anybody who visited, it would throw a pop-up, and that pop-up was basically malware. And if you didn't use a specific way to get out of that pop-up, it was going to infect your computer.
State officials say security upgrades have already been implemented to try and stay ahead of the next attempted breach.
A major development tonight in the manhunt for the shooter who killed the United Healthcare CEO last week. Police in Altoona, Pennsylvania have arrested and charged a suspect in the case. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is so far facing weapons, forgery, and other charges. He was arrested at a McDonald's after an employee there called police thinking the suspect was eating at the restaurant. Officials say Mangione was carrying a ghost gun and a silencer.
Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident.
This investigation is still active and ongoing.
Dive teams found a backpack they believe belonged to the shooter in Central Park. It contained a jacket and Monopoly money. Police believe the shooter headed to a New York City bus station after the killing. They say he also ditched the bike that he used to flee the crime scene.
Boeing is moving forward with more layoffs. The number of Washington workers now out of a job coming up next.
Manitou Lights returns this weekend. Coming up, I'll explain why it's a little different this year.
What was he doing?